Hello, everyone, and I hope you're doing well. Coming back at you with a stock video, um, as per usual. The market continues to go up, and I continue to believe that we are tracking April 27th, that whole run on whatever scale it wants to be on. And so I'm thinking that today was really interesting because we had Fed Chair testimony today, and usually testimonies do something weird. They usually kickstart things, at least direction. Now we do have CPI coming up, so what I'm expecting is maybe tomorrow is just chop. But I mean, based on the look of this, right? Um, Comparatively, maybe tomorrow is just chop. But at the same time, it looks like we're playing pre-market exactly like we did um, in the past. So maybe we're just gonna get the chop section in pre-market, maybe open up flat, and then Powell testimony starts, and then we start seeing a decline, and then maybe we just kind of get like, I'm not sure if maybe Powell. Maybe it's like an all-day drop sort of thing, kind of like the run-ups that we've been having here, since this is on a very slow scale. So maybe we just get like a 2-day drop that's just sort of like this, where it prioritizes the downside, as opposed to in the past where it was just like a whole, like, what was this? It was like it's relative. It was like a 1.5% or more drop. But, I'd say if it were to be as vicious as it was in the past, all in one day, um, I do like this line here, kind of like not necessarily a vector, but I don't think that this angle here was respected enough. So we could see at open a flat, and then maybe, I mean, that'd be kind of crazy. It would need to start dropping in the AM to really validate the direction here. But based off of this line, as crazy as it is, 550 looks like it is possible tomorrow. But based off of the behavior that we've been seeing in the market, anything more than a 0.5% drop would be kind of crazy at this point. But considering that the ground that has been traveled, we're talking like what, 20+% in how long? And really hasn't been too many good red days. So I'm thinking this is the top. If we break tomorrow's high, if we hit like 558, or if we just retest 557 and then go flat into CPI, I would say it's ready for another leg up. But if we continue down, and maybe if we end around 550 tomorrow, which would be just insane. I'm thinking CPI might be bullish and act as the retrace, and then it'll be a sell the news kind of thing, because maybe it's going to be flat and not exactly the good news that the Fed wants. Or we also have, what is it, PPI on Friday. There is a lot of good data, but I don't think we should overlook the market impact of the testimony, because testimonies do have weight. They definitely did today. I mean, it's chop, but this is a huge swing here. I don't think that this can just be brushed to the side. So, $2 swing, that made some good money. So we'll see what happens. I'm not the biggest fan of this run up in after hours. Not too sure what that could be here. If we are following it, maybe we're actually playing out this part. So, this is the spike above that, and then we're gonna get kind of like a hill sort of thing here, which would mean that chop is likely tomorrow, and that maybe this spike here could be replayed as a pump, you know? So we go something like this, and then kind of does like this, and then it drops hard into, and maybe just ends flat into CPI, and then CPI is really bad, and then that causes a drop. So I am gonna play CPI, and I'm gonna have puts on it, unless I said, unless we retest these highs here, which I really don't think. I mean, I think if we're even talking like ICT level stuff, this level has been tested a lot, and I don't think there's much strength or support here, so I do feel like it's time to test those lower levels, especially because Microsoft did a kind of a top reversal today, and this looks kind of toppy, right? So this just kind of looks like a regular head, and so maybe it wants to come down and fake out for CPI, I mean, the way that the market's positioned right now is just so perfect for Wall Street. It's crazy. I do believe that this structure will play out though. The April 27th of last year. So we're gonna get like this major reversal. The question is like, are we seeing that here? Are we seeing that right here? And the market's just gonna come down and test 492, and that'll act as the fractal low, and then it'll just stop there? Or does it want to treat this entire thing? Does it want to treat this entire thing as the top? As that pointy top, And it'll be like, maybe a year and a half of just full retracement. Because the market's positioned to do that and still relatively be okay for 401ks. Although, of course, there have been no investments this whole time. So the question is, does it want to do this on a macro scale? Right? Or does it want to do this? You see what I mean? So do we want to do that, or do we want to actually come down and retest these levels here? I mean, one could argue that there is support here in this range, considering SPY was basically stuck here for a while. But if SPY wanted to retrace this breakout here, well, what's to say it doesn't want to retrace this breakout back here? There's still geopolitical tensions, the AI bubble. This could be an AI bubble. End game in 2025 next year. Does inflation end up coming back? How does gas prices come into play? Is there going to be another, outbreak of a certain, whatever? That's kind of crazy, but memes have yet to really run. I mean, AMC and GameStop did a crazy move, but at the same time, I've always been considerate of it reaching those higher levels, because it did hit the gap, the 1 minute gap in the 30s level, which I always talked about, and it knocked out the 41, which was a big one I've been thinking about, but it didn't want to go for the 72 gap, which has been around for a while, and I do think that it will do that eventually. AMC just looks like it's doing a straight up inverse head and shoulders here. So Does SPY wanna? And I don't think AMC would break this. I also don't think GameStop would want to break this. I just don't know if memes can run without the market. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, let's just look at SPY side to side, and we'll go back to January. You know, I mean, it was during this whole accumulation period. I mean, SPY in theory could go down because it did here during this moment. Maybe that was liquidity to grab. You know, so it could do that. MViz, which I've always loved, has just been a sleeper cell. But I do like this this bounce here, this S curve into a bounce, which is very similar. I forget what the word is. It's very similar to what AMC did, as you can see here. So you see how AMC did that S curve, and then it did that sideways kind of thing. MViz could be setting up for the same thing. And the price target for that would be, you know, the threes, but I don't think with MViz fundamentals it would really get there. I would probably take exit around the 2 levels because this level 2.7 ish 2.6 was really hard to crack. So I would imagine if it were to go, it would just get completely walled off right there. But I mean, like if you want to look at it in a flow, like TA flow kind of thing, and imagine this line as a candle. I mean, that kind of makes sense. It really does make sense. I mean, you can't really go any higher than the 2 level. You know, I mean, look at it like that. And then maybe it wants to go sideways from here, like AMC. And then it'll be an accumulation for MViz. And it'll be like the weirdest reversal I've ever seen, structurally speaking. You know? But like it's like can it do this while SPY's going down? I just don't know. There would have to be some crazy news drop. So maybe next week MViz makes this move. Maybe CPI data is good. I am just biased and I'm hoping for a red day tomorrow on SPY with the testimony, considering Powell is still kind of like weary. So I mean, if the Fed is still looking for data and we get a drop tomorrow, it might just be like Wall Street knows something and they want to take their exit. I mean, look at these gaps, and then everyone knows how I feel about 1 minute gaps. Look at this really weird 1 minute gap at 549. So, I mean, could 549 be hit tomorrow? Doubtful. I was kind of thinking 553 would be the bottom for tomorrow. And then you get sideways for CPI. And then CPI clears out to 549. And then on open after CPI, because you're only thinking about like a 1% drop from CPI, which is shit that we've experienced before, you know, and then you get an S curve from CPI, and then, you know, and then you can get like a big ass reversal here. And then you can make your depending on how bad the report is, you know, then you can either get a recovery here to carve out the structure, or you can just drop from this point. And that would be that would be an even bigger S curve, which would be insane. and then you would probably get a pretty mean reversal that would go sideways for some time, and then you would then maybe, and then earnings season would hit, and then maybe earnings aren't that good, and then we zoom out, and then you see what I'm saying, and then you could probably just, I'm kind of just going crazy right now, and then you just kind of get some stuff like this. And we see a priority switch, you know, we see a priority switch in SPY where bears would win, and then it would take some pretty insane news at this point to cause a reversal to stop this level from breaking through. But I think regardless, you're gonna get a cool off, and then, which would really hurt a lot of people because people would consider to follow the trend. And then maybe like war breaks out if you want to have a crash here. And then you're thinking about, okay, never mind. That's a 15% drop. But I mean, looking at it structurally, right? It does make sense. You know, there's bait here. And it all can start with a bad CPI report. And I mean, this would take place, oh, I have this taking place in October if it wants to go this slow. So many more reports to come out in that meantime, and definitely an FOMC meeting because there's a September meeting. So maybe the September meeting does something here. Imagine if the chart was just stuck like this, how scary that would be. I mean, I think anyone with a brain would want to sell, and it would take some pretty significant manipulation behind the scenes to keep it here and keep people wanting this level. So you'd really have to put the algos on high alert. But I don't think you can really stop this. I think it is inevitable, and I do commend Wall Street for having it go on this far. I think the AI boom, I mean, it's AI and NVIDIA. I mean, great. I mean, it makes sense fundamentally. But still, it's all going to come back down. And it's stupid. It's stupid. So we'll see how earnings go. We'll see how the report goes, you know, moving forward, because it's going to be a while until I make a next video. So whatever it is, if it wants to keep going up here and my bear bias continues to you know, mess with me, then so be it. You know, the longer, just more time I can use to save money for puts, because I'm not buying it. But, you know, this does look like an S-curve here if we really wanted to be picky. So, you know, it could go, you know, it could basically do that. So definitely tomorrow, you know, I don't make the video for no reason. I think tomorrow is definitely a big deal. So we want to see green to have the bull trend valid. We don't want to break 555. If 555 is broken and then we enter into, you know, 554 into CPI, then I don't know. But I'm thinking that this is the top based off of the 3 pillars and then the high and then the retrace. So yeah, I think it's all gonna come crashing down. So, you know, optimism, you know, it's all about trying to make money. And I hope you guys do well, and I wish you the best going forward, and until next time, peace.